Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Groden. In today's video we are going to be going over the Audi A3/S3/RS3 third generation good, bad, and ugly. For those who don't know what the good, bad, and uglies are, by the way, because this is in case you're new to the channel or whatever, pretty much the way it works is I go over the car, everything you need to know about the car, engines it came with, trim levels, body styles, etc, etc. Then I get into what the community tends to do with them in terms of modifying them, and then I get into the good, the bad, and the ugly, which we'll go over when we get there. And then at the end of the video I tell you whether or not I think you should buy the car depending on the current situation that you are currently in. Also, we only do good, bad, and uglies off of recommendations, so if you want to see your car, leave a comment below. That's the only way I'm going to do a good, bad, and ugly on your car. If not, you're just praying to the gods above that I'll do your car eventually. Like this car, as a matter of fact, is a car I don't think I've ever once even mentioned in one of my videos. Like I genuinely can't remember if I ever even talked about this car before. So it's pretty interesting to actually do one. Somebody left a comment obviously and was like, oh, let's do it on the Audi A3 3rd gen. So it should be interesting. I might get some information wrong, so obviously, as always, if you guys notice I get something wrong, don't be too shy to let me know in the comments that I'm a big old dingleberry head. Song of the day. It's called Still Dre by Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. A classic, an absolute classic. It's a banger though. Still to this day is a banger. I don't care what anybody says. I can call me Unk as much as you want. This is a certified hood classic, dude. This thing is, well, I don't live in the hood. This is a certified rural setting classic. Yeah. Without further ado, let's get right into it with the good, bad, and ugly on the Audi A3 3rd gen. Alright, like I said, the first thing we got to go over is pretty much just basic information about the car, things like the years made, blah blah blah. As a matter of fact, let's go over that first. The years made and the generation. It was made between the years 2012, my bad, to 2020, and like I said, it is the third generation of the Audi A3, and there is one facelift actually in 2016, which is, it's on the screen now. I don't really think it changes too much, to be honest. The chassis code is Type 8V, or TYP8V. I'm assuming that means type in like German or something. As for the trim levels, we're only going to be going over the American trim levels because I'm an American. In terms of like the European ones, there are different trim levels there, but like I said, I'm going over the American ones. And in case you don't know, the way we go over trim levels on my channel is pretty much just the engines. Like, that's the only thing I really care about. I know that some of them change things, like this one will have a sunroof, this one has leather interior, this one has heated seats, like small things like that, but I don't want to go over every single different thing, so we're just going to go with the trim level, the engines, I mean. And so in order is the 1.8T Premium, the 1.8T Premium Plus, and the 1.8T Prestige, and they all come with a 1.8 liter turbocharged inline-4 that makes 170 horsepower. Obviously, the Prestige does have the nicest features in it, but they all make the same horsepower with the same motor, respectively. As the next one is the 2.0 TDI Premium, the 2.0 TDI Premium Plus, and the 2.0 TDI Prestige, which they all come with a 2-liter turbo diesel inline-4 that makes 150 horsepower, so slightly less horsepower than the previous one. However, this is a diesel car, obviously, and so it's going to be significantly more reliable and way better on gas, and even better for making some good power gains, and it's going to have better torque as well. So overall, I do think it is a slightly above the 1.8T. Next is a 2.0T Premium, 2.0T Premium Plus, 2.0T Prestige. They all come with a 2-liter turbo inline-4 that makes 220 horsepower. If you're not going to get one of the sporty ones, the S3 or RS3, this is the best one in terms of performance. Next is the S3. The S3 comes with a 2-liter turbo inline-4, just like the last trim level, but it makes 292 horsepower and is obviously significantly better just in terms of performance, has better brakes, has better suspension, etc, etc. And finally, the RS3 is obviously the best one in terms of performance, and that comes with a 2.5 liter turbocharged inline-5 that makes 400 horsepower in a very lightweight car. These cars are incredible little performance cars, especially if you care about the whole handling side of things. 400 horsepower in a car that weighs as much as this car does is really good. And then on top of that, the turbo 5-cylinder can make significantly more power pretty easily. As for the body styles, it is available as a sedan, a hatchback, or a convertible. They do have convertible ones, but they are hideous, so sedan or hatchback is the ones I would stick with. As for the drivetrains, it is front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Most of them are going to be all-wheel drive, but there are some that are front-wheel drive. The cheaper ones, if it doesn't say quattro, it's not all-wheel drive. As for the transmissions, it is available as an automatic or a manual. Manual, I think, is only available on the S3s and RS3s, so I do not believe the base models come with a manual. As for the price, it is anywhere from like $7,000 for a pretty high mileage, like 1.8T base model, to like $40,000 for a good low mileage RS3. It obviously changes drastically depending on the trim levels that you get, but I think the average person, most likely, if you're watching this video, you're probably looking at something like a 2.0T. It would probably like 50,000, 60,000 miles. If you're looking for something like that, I would say 15,000 would be probably a good price point. As for the reliability and the gas mileage, it is decently reliable if you go the diesel route or the 1.8T route, but the 2.0T A3 and the S3 and the RS3 do tend to be slightly more unreliable, since they're sportier cars. Obviously, you're not going to have as good reliability if you get the RS3 as you do the diesel. However, I want to make it very clear that for a sports car, these are very reliable cars. Audi, recently at least, has been doing pretty damn good with their reliability. So if in terms of sports cars, they're reliable, but at the end of the day, they are still sports cars, so keep that in mind. And then the gas mileage obviously varies heavily depending on the trim. Every engine is different, so every engine gets different gas mileage. But the 2.0T, which is, again, the one that I think most people are going to be looking at, gets 28 miles per gallon combined, which is pretty good. It's not as good as like a Civic or a Camry, but it's not that bad either. And then obviously, if you care mostly about gas mileage, you can go with the diesel, which will get a lot more. Alright, but now, what do the community tends to do with these bad mother jammers when they modify them? As for the drifting scene, this car is not seen very obviously, because they're front wheel drive and nobody has swapped the all-wheel drive ones yet to be rear wheel drive. So yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a all-wheel drive, or not even all-wheel drive, a third gen A3, S3, RS3 pre-drift car. Obviously, people do take them out in the snow and slide them around and stuff like that, but in terms of like an actual drift car, no, it's not seen. As for the rally / off-road community, it's definitely starting to be seen a little bit more, but they're not as good off-road as they are on the road, so you'll see more in like hill climb environments, not the off-road rally racing environments. As for the street racers, the RS3 and S3 absolutely love to go fast in a straight line, so yes, there are tons of people building up RS3s particularly to be quick little street racing cars. I almost just choked there. As for the track racing community, this is easily its most popular. They're lightweight, short wheelbase, good motor for some easy power. It's an incredible combination for the track, but more importantly, things like autocross and, like I said earlier, hill climb racing is where these cars are really shining, and it makes sense. I mean, the A3, the 3 line, the 3 series, I don't know what you would call it, for Audi has always been really good at the whole hill climb stuff. And then finally, as for the stance or show car guys, the guys that just build them up to look good and park them and have everybody take Instagram pictures with them, it's seen for sure, because what car isn't in 2025, but it's not that much in America. Maybe overseas in Europe, these cars are seen more often in terms of the stance community, but over here in America, like I said, we're still kind of on the whole JDMs thing, so they're not really the most popular for that. Alright, so finally we are into the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the way this works, in case you're new here, first off, I go over the good. Those are just things that are selling points on the car. They're great things on the car. People are going to be like, yeah, that's an incredible thing. Next is the bad, which aren't actually bad. I've said this in every single one of these good, bad, and uglies, but people still don't understand. They're just middle ground things. So things that, like, it might affect you, it might not. It's 100% up to you on if it's a bad thing or not. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I say bad is just because it's a fun play on words, okay? And then finally we get into the ugly, which are just true, genuine problems with the car you're going to have to address one time. So without further ado, let's get right into it though with the good. The first thing for the good is the price. These cars are very cheap. Even the RS3 being 40 grand, while it may sound like it's horrible, this is a new European sports car for 40k. It's pretty damn good, and you can find one for even less than that if you don't mind having it be higher miles. So like the price for these cars is incredible. And in terms of like, if you literally just want the body, you don't care about what engine comes in it or whatever, you can get a front wheel drive 1.8T for like 7 grand, dude. Like, these cars can be dirt cheap. Next is the looks. Obviously this is very divisive, and I should have put this into bad tier, but I don't think anyone out there is going to look at an Audi A3 and say it's a bad looking car. You might not love it, you might not be like, oh, it's a beautiful car, but I don't think anyone's gonna be like, that looks ugly. Like, there's decent looking cars. Next is the gas mileage. Like I said before, 28 miles per gallon in the 2.0T is very good, but the 2.0 TDI is going to be even better than that. So gas mileage is just great in these cars. Next is the reliability in the base models. Like I said earlier, the sports ones do tend to be a little bit slightly worse in terms of reliability, but for the base models, it's really good. Next is the interior. Apparently is very nice for the price. They use quality parts and it's well put together and stuff like that. For the price, again, obviously these cars are really cheap cars. They're pretty much like with the cheapest Audi you can buy, brand new at least. And so yeah, the interior is not going to be as nice as like a S6 or something like that, but it is still pretty damn good. Next is the car handles very well. We mentioned this earlier, but a very short wheelbase with a very lightweight body makes for a good combination. Next is the car is a manual in the big 2.5. That's huge. We don't have a lot of manual cars left, and so when you do have one, that is a good thing, and this is one of those. Next is the car does have some decent cup holders. I say this in all my good, bad, and uglies. I always talk about the cup holders. People think I'm joking when I mention it, but I'm not. It actually is something that people don't understand is a pretty big deal. In my Integra, the cup holders are too small to fit pretty much anything in them, and so it's really frustrating having to drive a manual car and hold on to like a coffee so it doesn't spill all over my seats. It could be absolutely frustrating. Next is the RS3 and the S3 are true driver's cars through and through, like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you are a car enthusiast that likes to drive your car and likes to have fun ripping it around corners and stuff, these cars are very good options for you. And finally, for the good is the car is kind of respected by like every single car guy out there, so you should be able to get some like Instagram or TikTok clout if that's what you care about. Obviously, that's 100% up to the person that's watching the video. But if you care about that stuff, if you care about making friends in the car community with your car and talking to people and getting, you know, Instagram followers and going to events and stuff like that, this car is definitely a good one for you because, like I said, there's nobody out there that like hates the RS3s. All right, but now you're into the bad, and again, I've said it before, but I'm going to say it really quickly just again. These aren't actually bad things, it's just a play on words. This is just a middle ground area. First off, for the bad is the sound. I always put the sound here in the bad because it's obviously 100% personal opinion. So here's a sound clip of an RS3. Next is the reliability in the high-end models. We mentioned this multiple times already, but yeah, the sportier ones, the RS3 and the S3, aren't the most reliable cars out there, which again makes sense. You are buying a sports car. It's still reliable for a sports car, but in terms of like an average car, obviously it's going to be more unreliable than those ones are. Next is these cars are not easy to fix. Audi has kind of a history, kind of a reputation of their cars being frustrating to work on, and these are no different. Next is they do not have the cheapest parts out there, especially here in America, especially if you get an RS3. There are not that many RS3s, there are even less RS3s in America, and the parts for those cars are going to be harder and harder to find and going to be more and more expensive. Next is the aftermarket support is also not really there, which kind of ties into the last one too, where it's like, okay, maybe you can't find an OEM water pump, okay, but I can find an aftermarket water pump, right? Well, chances are not really. These cars are still relatively new, and besides the RS3, they really don't have the hugest community behind them. As a matter of fact, that's the next point of the bad, is that the community is kind of small behind these cars. And so yeah, companies just aren't really putting a bunch of money into building aftermarket parts for these cars just yet, and so it is going to be tough for you to buy parts for these things. Next is the community is kind of small. I already mentioned that, but yeah, the community's smaller than you would expect it to be. And next is it does not have the most space in terms of the cargo and cabin space. Like the cabin is relatively small, it's not going to have a lot of leg room, and then the cargo space, fitting a bunch of groceries or whatever you want to do in it, again, just doesn't have that much, whether it's the hatchback, convertible, or the sedan. Convertible is obviously going to be the worst of the bunch, but in terms of the other two, the sedan and the hatchback, you would expect it to have more cargo space than it does have, apparently, based off of the forums. Next for the bad is the stiff ride, apparently, which makes sense. In the S3 and the RS3, you're not going to be driving those cars and expect it to be the most comfortable thing in the world. They are, again, sports cars, but for the base models, you would expect them to be more comfortable than the people online are saying they are. Apparently, they're just really not that comfortable to drive, especially if you're a taller guy, which kind of makes sense. Obviously, these are small cars, but at the same time, you would expect them to at least be like comfortable in the sense of the suspension not being that stiff, but apparently it is. Next is the infotainment system seems to have glitches. It's just another reason, in my opinion, why these big screens, this whole screen trend on every single car that comes out of the lot needs to go. But yeah, it's like an Android quality infotainment system. And finally, for the bad is these cars will only continue to depreciate, so there's absolutely no money to be made on these cars just yet. Obviously, most of us, 99% of us that are talking about this car, are not buying them for an investment. But if you're that 1%, this is not an investment car, okay? You're not going to sell it in 2 years and make money on it. Finally, for the ugly. Okay, we're into the ugly. The ugly is the bad part, okay? This is the true bad area. These are the parts where people are going to have to, you know, consider them when you're going to buy it. And first off, for the ugly, there's only two, so it's not that bad. But first off, for the ugly is the transmission seems to have a ton of issues, which is just never good, especially if you plan on pushing some big power through it with the RS3. If you plan on doing that, apparently you're going to have to do a lot of transmission work in order to do that, and that's not fun. Even this car does have issues when it's stock transmission, so when it's stock motor, so that's obviously building power on it, trying to get more power to go through the transmission, is just going to give it problems, and that's just not fun. And finally, for the ugliest and notorious water pump problems, normally it's not the end of the world, okay? Water pumps, they break, and as a matter of fact, I think my power, not my water pump, but my power steering pump is going in the old Integra right now, to be honest. But normally it's not that big a deal. They are kind of a, you know, decent job, but nothing crazy. But with Audis, it's very hard to replace for a beginner, and chances are you will have to do it unless the previous owner did do it, because they do have water pump problems, and that's just not fun, especially if you're a beginner. So my final thoughts: do I think you should consider buying this automobile? Depending on the current situation you're in. Well, we have 4 situations. The guys that are looking for the daily drivers, okay? The guys that don't care at all about how cool their car is. They just need a car to get them from point A to point B, and that's absolutely it. In my opinion, I think if you go with the diesel option, then yes. Otherwise, I think I just stick with something more reliable and better gas mileage, like a Civic or a Corolla. The diesel one has that added bonus of having just incredible gas mileage. So while the price is going to be slightly higher than something like a Civic or a Corolla, and the reliability is going to be slightly lower than a Civic or Corolla, it kind of pays itself off with the higher gas mileage. So that's why, if you are just a guy looking to get it from point A to point B, and you do want one of these, get a diesel. As for the car guys looking for a daily driver, obviously, you know, we're different from regular people looking to buy a daily driver. Our daily drivers are still going to be somewhat cool because we tell ourselves it's just going to be a daily, but at the end of the day, we want something that's fun. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, it's hard for me to think of a better option for you in this current situation. Try and get the RS3 or the S3 though, if you can afford it. I don't think the other 3 are going to be really good driver's cars, but yeah, if you can afford an RS3 or an S3 and you're just a car guy looking for a daily driver, I think it's a great option. I mean, they're reliable enough, they're good enough in gas mileage, they're gonna be fun as hell, they look nice, they're comfortable to drive, they're just all around a good car, and that's good for us. As for the guys looking for a Sunday cruiser, just a guy that's gonna drive it once a week and then put it in the garage and try and make money on it, or keep it nice and clean and stock, whatever it may be. I mean, I can kind of see it if you have an RS3, just because, you know, they are nice cars, but otherwise, in my personal opinion, man, I just enjoy the car. They're a driver's car after all. They're built to be driven. Drive the damn car, take it on tracks, do whatever you want to do with it. As for the race car / project car dudes, for sure, I love seeing these things in hill climb videos, absolutely ripping it up mountains. And I think if you can afford it, then you'd find that it's probably going to be pretty fun. These cars, Audis in general have always been just really good in terms of like handling cars, but when it comes to the A3s, they're just so freaking light. And so if you manage to get an all-wheel drive one and just pump some insane power out of it, not caring about the reliability, and just flying up and down hills or autocross events, yeah, this thing is probably going to be a lot of fun. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the good, the bad, and the ugly on the Audi A3/S3/RS3 3rd generation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like ideal. Another thing I forgot to mention too about the race car / project car guys is, not only is it a good option for that, but they're also cheap, which is a big deal. Like, I remember we talked about the Civics, the 11th gen Civics recently, and I mentioned how I think the only real good option for you if you're looking for a race car / project car and you want a Civic is the Type Rs, but the Type Rs are too expensive. But with the A3s, you can get a 1.8T all-wheel drive hatchback for dirt cheap still, and have an absolute blast with it. So the price actually does, you know, matter for this one as well. Also, really quickly, something I wanted to ask you guys. Oh yeah, are any of you guys in any cryptocurrencies? This is not a crypto scam. I'm not going to tell you to go buy cryptocurrencies. I'm just curious if you guys are in any, and if you are, which ones are you in? I am in some, but like I said, I'm in some, but I have lost money in them, so I'm not a good financial advisor, so I'm not even going to say which ones I'm in, because I don't want anybody to go put their money in it thinking, oh, well, Mark Ronan seems to know a lot about cars, so maybe he knows a lot about cryptocurrency. No! It doesn't work like that. That's actually, as a matter of fact, if you think it does work like that, you are kind of stupid. It's not the same case, so I'm not going to tell you which ones I'm in, but I am curious. Are any of you guys in any? And if you are, which ones? And if you're not in crypto, but you're in stocks or something, which ones are those? Pretty much, do you invest your money in anything on, you know, TD Ameritrade or Robinhood or whatever it may be that you, Coinbase? I know Coinbase is one now. But yeah, do you invest in anything? Let me know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.